Ian Eagle with us right now, of course, CBS Sports, Yes Network, the Turner family as well, also the voice of the Final Four in the NCAA tournament as well. Ian, I just want to ask you about this, and you mentioned this earlier, just the harmony of the Eagles' offense with Barkley and Hurts protecting the ball and that offensive line. That offensive line did suffer a few injuries over the last few weeks. Cam Jurgens didn't start the game in the NFC Championship game. Landon Dickerson had to leave that NFC title game. I know it's 2 weeks. There's a bye involved, but just going up against Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and that defensive front for Kansas City, how much of a concern is that Eagles' health on that front line?
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern. That was not smooth. They obviously got through it against Washington. The fact of the matter is Barkley is so exceptional at his job that his ability to go to the outside, to pick the right running lane, decision-making, spin moves, physical against linebackers and safeties, all of that plays to Philadelphia's favor. But in a Super Bowl, one game, winner take all, you want to be at your best. And they clearly were not at their best last week up front. It is a concern. Injuries are part of the game. We understand that. It just happens to be the bread and butter for Philadelphia. So let's see how it plays out here. We're not going to have anything in terms of an injury report as we get much closer to the game. It didn't look great. I mean, the fact that Jurgens was active but not starting, didn't have a helmet on for a long stretch of that opening half, and then had to come in fill-in duty, and they had to mix and match, and Steen came in to start at the left guard position. It's not great timing, but it's part of the deal. They're equipped. They're pretty deep, but considering it's what they do and who they are, that's really the lifeblood of who the Eagles are. It's a legitimate concern.
Ian, just looking forward to things here. What's one thing in this game that has to happen for Philadelphia to just slay the beast? Is it as simple as Barkley has another huge day? Is it actually forcing a Kansas City turnover where Kansas City finally turned it over for the first time in 2 months a week ago against Buffalo? Or is it some other thing that may be off people's radar?
No, I think the turnover issue is one that really stands out for Philly. They've been feasting on that. They've averaged 2 forced turnovers, more than that after last week, if you throw those numbers in, since the bye week. So this isn't just occasionally that's a part of who they are. This has been consistent in who they are. So that can't change. If Kansas City takes care of the football, I still believe they're very efficient offensively. They're not necessarily as electric as they used to be, but they're still efficient. They found something with Kareem Hunt, and he's really emerged as the guy they depend on now in the run game. Doesn't mean Pacheco won't have a role, and he could pop one, but odds are they're going to stick with what they've been doing to get to this point. And the ball control part of it is definitely who they are right now. Less so the huge plays. They keep talking about it. I had them a few times down the stretch of the season, and Patrick Mahomes, who's terrific in the production meetings, he's obviously highly experienced in handling the questions, but it's also automatic pilot. He was saying to us, like, oh, we got to get those explosive plays, and that's what we got to do. They're still not coming. It's just not part and parcel with who they are. They thought Hollywood Brown now being a part of it, maybe he can help pop it free. It's not the old Kansas City Chiefs. It just isn't. Doesn't mean that they're not capable. I just don't think you can go into these games relying on it. If they get any of those explosive plays against this Philadelphia defense, then you could be looking for a long night out of Philly, especially with what you mentioned earlier in regards to their offensive line.
I am one last Chief-related question, because I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and it always feels like in these Kansas City Super Bowls, there's always one guy at the skill position who comes out of left field and has a huge game. 2 years ago, it was Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore who had the big games in the Super Bowl 2 years ago against this Philadelphia team. If you were to pick one of those auxiliary guys to have a big game, would it be a Justin Watson? Would it be a Noah Gray? Would it be, Samaje Perine made the big play to send him to the Super Bowl. There's so many random names that could pop up here.
That's the one that came to mind for me. I don't know if it would be a big game per se, but I could tell you that Samaje Perine could make some big plays. They put him in position on third downs occasionally where his catch and run ability and his rugged style could turn into a 27-yard reception and one of those key plays that we saw last week. I've done a bunch of his games through the years where he's emerged as one of those guys. I remember a Cincinnati game in particular where he just took over unexpectedly in a game, and they just kept feeding him the football, and he was not an every down running back. He's never really been viewed as such. So that would be the one name. That's the bolt that came into my brain. If you were going to pick somebody from Kansas City that emerges in a moment, it could be someone like Samaje Perine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Parles.
And I'm Alex White. Thank you for watching this clip of Sports by the Book. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe.
We live stream the show right here every day on this channel. Also, you can catch the podcast version on your favorite podcast platform.
All the links are in the description below. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.